Bellingham's extra-time winner sends England into World Cup semi-finals, but Norway expose the cracks Argentina will target. Argentina also needed extra time, while Bellingham's two-game scoring run and Tuchel criticism add pressure. Now England's semi-final place starts with Norway. England have reached the last four, but the scoreline tells only half the story. The other half is the pressure Jude Bellingham carried when the match stopped behaving politely. Bellingham's extra-time winner sends England into World Cup semi-finals. The easy headline is England's qualification. The sharper story is how close a heavily fancied team came to going home. Bellingham's decisive moment deserves the praise, but England's uneven performance gives Argentina a clear tactical invitation. Survival matters in knockout football, though relying on extra-time rescue acts can become dangerous very quickly. England beat Norway 2-1 after extra time, with Jude Bellingham scoring the winner and sending Thomas Tuchel's team into the World Cup semi-finals. England will now face Argentina, so this wasn't a routine step through the bracket. It was a hard, awkward night that demanded patience, nerve, and eventually one outstanding intervention from the Real Madrid midfielder. Norway made England work for every clean passage. England came from behind, and the match stayed tense deep into extra time before Bellingham settled it. That's the part supporters will remember. The late run, the finish, the roar, and a player once again appearing when his team needed him most. The less comfortable memory is the performance before that moment. England supporters are split between admiration for the resilience and concern that Bellingham is carrying too much of the creative and emotional burden. Both views can be true. A team can be mentally strong and still look tactically vulnerable. It can deserve credit for surviving while also giving Argentina reasons to feel confident. This result puts England one match from the World Cup final. It also puts them directly in front of Lionel Messi and an Argentina side that has already learned how to survive extra time. That meeting won't be decided by reputation. It may be decided by which midfield arrives with more control after two exhausting quarterfinal battles. England's extra-time escape has a mirror image on the other side of the draw. Argentina also needed another 30 minutes, and that makes the semi-final feel less like a glamour tie and more like a stress test. Argentina beat Switzerland 3-1 after extra time to set up England's semi-final. Argentina's 3-1 win sounds comfortable until you remember Switzerland took them into extra time. The real strength is Argentina's ability to stay alive when knockout football becomes disjointed. Messi's presence drives the global attention, but Julian Alvatrez and Lautaro Martinez supplied the extra-time damage. Argentina defeated Switzerland 3-1 after extra time to reach the semi-finals. Julian Alvatrez scored in extra time, and Lautaro Martinez sealed the victory, while Lionel Messi remains involved in Argentina's campaign. England now face Argentina in a meeting that will be Messi's first senior international match against England. That detail gives the game its obvious theater, but the tactical problem is more interesting. Argentina have shown they can survive a difficult quarterfinal without collapsing when the rhythm disappears. England did the same against Norway. Both teams have earned the right to be here, and neither arrives with the luxury of pretending the road has been smooth. For England, Argentina's extra-time win is a warning about concentration. The match could stay level deep into the second half, and then one movement from Alvarez, Martinez, or Messi can change the entire geometry. Supporters may want a statement performance, but knockout football usually offers something less elegant. One loose touch, one late run, and a match suddenly belongs to somebody else. If England's quarterfinal was a team survival story, Bellingham's tournament has become a statistical landmark. That creates excitement, but it also raises the uncomfortable question of what happens when Argentina manages to silence him. Bellingham scores twice in consecutive knockout games as England prepare for Argentina. Bellingham's form is exceptional, though the record shouldn't be used to hide England's dependence on him. Scoring twice against Mexico and twice against Norway places him alongside a rare World Cup knockout achievement. Argentina's plan won't be to admire the history, it'll be to restrict the spaces where Bellingham can arrive late. Bellingham scored twice against Norway after also scoring twice in England's previous knockout match against Mexico. According to Guardian reporting, he's the first player since Diego Maradona in 1986 to score twice in consecutive World Cup knockout matches. That's an extraordinary sequence for a Real Madrid forward and attacking midfielder, who keeps influencing matches from different starting positions. The role matters. Bellingham isn't simply standing high and waiting for service, nor is he locked into one conventional forward position. He can connect midfield to attack, drift into dangerous spaces, and arrive late when defenders are watching the ball instead of the runner. Against Norway, that timing produced the winning goal in extra time. But records can become a trap when they encourage a team to search for one hero every time the match becomes difficult. England need Bellingham's imagination, obviously. They also need enough movement around him that Argentina can't turn the semi-final into a personal surveillance operation. If three players are waiting for Bellingham to solve every problem, England's attack becomes predictable despite his talent. The goals have made Bellingham England's shield, but Thomas Tuchel isn't handing out medals for surviving Norway. His criticism has opened a second contest inside the semi-final build-up: standards versus stability. Bellingham shrugs off Tuchel's criticism after England reach World Cup semi-final. Tuchel's comments may be tactically fair, but public criticism becomes risky when the player being criticized is also carrying the team. Bellingham's dismissive response shows confidence, not proof of a dressing room split. The useful question is whether England convert the argument into sharper football against Argentina. After the Norway win, Tuchel described England as lucky, sloppy, and not fast enough. Those are blunt words after a victory, especially one that sent England into the semi-finals, but the manager clearly saw a performance that could have ended differently. Bellingham then shrugged off the criticism after scoring twice in the quarter-final. This is where football's public theater gets slightly absurd. A manager wins the match, criticizes the performance, and the star player answers with goals and a gesture that says the debate can wait. The supplied reports don't establish a dressing room split, and turning a few sharp comments into a civil war would be lazy analysis. Still, the tension matters. England can't afford a slow start against Argentina, and they can't assume another late Bellingham moment will erase every poor decision. Tuchel wants higher standards. Bellingham's job is to keep influencing games. The semi-final will reveal whether the criticism produced clarity or simply added noise around an already tired squad. The public argument is loud, but the quieter problem may be physical. England's extra-time workload was carried by players whose recovery has already been compromised, and Declan Rice is the clearest example. Rice played through sickness before Norway win as England prepare for Argentina. Rice's situation is a recovery concern, not a confirmed injury absence. His midfield role makes the illness especially important because England need his running and defensive balance against Argentina. The next selection decision could shape England's control long before Bellingham gets near the penalty area. Tuchel said Declan Rice spent most of the 3 days before England's quarter-final in bed with sickness. Rice still started against Norway, but he was substituted at half-time. Tuchel also said a neural issue affecting Rice's hamstring and lower back was exacerbated by the illness. Rice hasn't been ruled out of the semi-final, and that distinction matters. England had him available for the Norway match, but availability isn't the same as being fully recovered, especially after a game that went into extra time. The Arsenal midfielder's ability to protect the defense and connect the first pass could decide whether England control Argentina's transitions. England's biggest semi-final risk might be sitting in the recovery room, not the opposition penalty area. If Rice isn't right, the team may lose the balance that allows Bellingham to attack with freedom, while Argentina gain more room to turn midfield pressure into chances. England's concern is how to preserve a semi-final run. Senegal are dealing with the harsher aftermath. Reports say their World Cup exit has already cost Pape Thiaw his job. Reports say Senegal have sacked coach Pape Thiaw after World Cup exit. The reported dismissal shows how quickly tournament disappointment becomes institutional accountability. The decision isn't officially attributed to FIFA, and no replacement has been confirmed in the supplied evidence. Changing the coach may satisfy immediate frustration without solving the deeper questions around Senegal's competitiveness. Al Jazeera and GeoSuper report that Senegal dismissed Pape Thiaw after their disappointing World Cup exit. Thiaw was Senegal's coach at the tournament, and multiple reports describe his managerial status as having changed after elimination. There is no confirmed replacement in the evidence supplied here. That source language matters. This is a reported decision, not a FIFA announcement, and supporters shouldn't turn an unconfirmed succession story into fact before the federation provides its own word. Football news loves a clean ending, but a sacking rarely provides one. It usually leaves the harder questions standing in the corridor. Senegal's fans are now debating accountability, federation leadership, and whether a coaching change can restore the national team's competitiveness. The risk is that the new conversation focuses on the name of the next coach instead of why the tournament exit happened in the first place. The tournament's pressure has now spilled beyond the touchline. France are still a semi-finalist, but a former Spanish Prime Minister's comments have created a controversy that has nothing to do with the tactical shape. Former Spanish Prime Minister accused of racism over comments about France's football team. The criticism concerns remarks about France's national team, not a confirmed FIFA disciplinary case. Political commentary can distort a sporting story when public figures turn players and identity into a talking point. France's football remains the tournament issue, while the controversy adds an avoidable off-field burden. The Guardian reports that former Spanish Prime Minister José Luis Rodríguez Zapatero has faced accusations of racism over remarks concerning France's national team. The comments emerged during the knockout stage, with France established as a current semi-finalist. The supplied evidence doesn't confirm any FIFA sanction or disciplinary process. That boundary should stay clear. The public criticism is real, but a media controversy isn't automatically an official football offense. The more important point is how quickly commentary around a national team can move away from football and toward arguments about identity, belonging, and who gets to represent a country. France's players are preparing for a semi-final while this debate follows them around. That's an unnecessary distraction, and it shows why public figures should understand that comments about a national team don't float harmlessly above the tournament. They land on real people. While France deals with a political storm, the refereeing debate is much more concrete. Breel Embolo's red card has prompted a VAR review, and the issue reaches beyond one player because mistaken identity can change an entire knockout tie. World Cup VAR review examines Embolo red card and Ream mistaken identity loophole. The review raises legitimate questions about disciplinary accuracy without proving that the red card was overturned. A mistaken identity loophole is especially serious when the decision affects Switzerland and the United States in a World Cup knockout match. VAR's promise is accuracy, but accuracy depends on the procedure around the technology, not the cameras alone. An ESPN VAR review examined Embolo's sending off during the World Cup knockout stage and an apparent mistaken identity loophole involving Tim Ream. The incident involved Switzerland and the United States, and the review questioned how player identification was handled before the disciplinary decision took effect. Embolo plays for Monaco. That is a very specific problem. This isn't a general argument about whether fans like VAR or whether every decision should be debated for 3 days on television. The question is whether the correct player was identified and whether the process protected the match from a serious error when a red card could alter progression. There is no supplied confirmation that the card has been overturned, and FIFA hasn't been confirmed to have changed the protocol. Until an official ruling arrives, the controversy remains a warning about procedure. Technology can slow the game down without automatically making the decision right. That VAR dispute is about process. England's next problem is performance. Harry Kane is offered the captain's version of events, and it sounds less like celebration than a demand for improvement. Kane says England have another level after defending frustrated Tuchel. Kane's message admits England's quarterfinal wasn't good enough, even though the result was. Defending Tuchel keeps the public disagreement from becoming a squad narrative before Argentina. His own off day makes the semi-final a personal test as well as a team challenge. England captain Harry Kane said the team can reach another level after Thomas Tuchel expressed frustration with the performance against Norway. Kane defended Tuchel as England prepare for Argentina, insisting that the criticism should be used as fuel rather than treated as a public crisis. Kane was described by Sky Sports as having an off day in the quarterfinal, so his comments carry an extra edge. Captains don't get to hide behind the scoreline forever. England won 2-1 after extra time, but if Kane returns to his sharper level in the semi-final, England's attack becomes far less dependent on Bellingham finding another miracle. Kane plays for Bayern Munich, and his leadership now has a practical task. Help England turn frustration into structure before Argentina punish every loose phase. And the France controversy returns in a shorter but sharper form, because the expanded reporting adds another description of the remarks and keeps the issue in the tournament conversation. Former Spain PM criticized for xenophobic remark on French World Cup team, Al Jazeera. The Al Jazeera headline describes the remark as xenophobic, but the supplied package doesn't provide the full wording or context. That means the criticism can be reported without inventing a quote or claiming an official sanction. France's semi-final status is confirmed. The disciplinary consequences aren't. Al Jazeera reports that a former Spain prime minister was criticized over a so-called xenophobic remark about France's World Cup team. The supplied source package doesn't include the full original wording, so it would be reckless to reproduce a quote or pretend the context is settled. What is clear is the consequence. France are a current semi-finalist, and remarks about the team's identity have become part of the tournament's public argument. No FIFA sanction is confirmed in the supplied evidence. That distinction protects the reporting from becoming louder than the facts. For supporters, the frustration is understandable. France should be discussed for what happens on the pitch, yet the off-field controversy is now attached to their World Cup run and won't disappear simply because the next whistle blows. England have earned the semi-final, but the Norway win didn't erase the warning signs. Rice's recovery is uncertain, Kane wants another level, Tuchel wants sharper football, and Bellingham remains the player everyone expects to rescue the night. Argentina survived Switzerland, with Messi still involved, so this is the real test. Can England control a match before extra time demands another hero? Bellingham's extra time winner sends England into World Cup semi-finals, but Harry Kane's warning makes the next question unavoidable. Can England find another level against Argentina?